Hi Taurus. I'm going to be doing a self-love tarot message. These are general messages, so if it doesn't resonate with you this week, I'd like to do them weekly, and maybe if you come back next week, I can help you with something then. These are self-love messages. They're designed for the person who's watching. Spirit will showcase or highlight areas that maybe we need to prioritize more for ourselves, or feelings that we're having that we're not really dealing with, or areas where we might know that we're letting ourselves down. And Spirit says, hey, you need to pick that up. You need to, take better care of yourself. And it'll also show us ways that we can exist more authentically with others and with ourselves. This is a 6-card tarot spread, and then my 7th card will be Spirit Message. I did shuffle a little bit before we started. I'll just shuffle one or two more times, and then I will clarify with the Shamanic Healing Oracle deck. Let's see. Okay, we can get started. So in the first position that I have, Taurus, is going to be how you're feeling about yourself. The second is going to be an area you need to prioritize. The third is going to be an area where you might consciously or subconsciously be letting yourself down, and Spirit wants you to try harder. The 4th card is going to be something you need to let out of yourself, to acknowledge your most authentic self, being more authentic with yourself and the people around you. Self-love is about loving yourself and self-acceptance, and it's hard to accept parts of yourself that you have hidden still. The 5th card is going to be something you need to let go of, pretty simple. The 6th card is going to be something you need to acknowledge, and like I said, the 7th card will be Spirit Message. So let's get started. Taurus, right now you are feeling Taurus. I really need to meet more Tauruses in my life, I think, because I just feel like as a Pisces, like we'd get along really well, Well, I hope so, because sometimes I'm annoying. I'm really sorry. Oh, Taurus, right now it says you're feeling like the Hanged Man. Aren't you lucky? The Hanged Man is great. He chooses to hang himself up here because we see this Ankh right here. The Ankh is a symbol of life, and so this is the decision he's made. He's come to this tree in the middle of the desert, and he said to himself, okay, things are not working the way that I'm dealing with them. Instead of being mad at the world and being like, the world's problem, the Hangman says, how can I look at things differently? How can I change my perspective? Because change in the world doesn't happen from you forcing change. Change in the world happens from you changing. And that's what Pisces is all about, is bringing a new perspective. So right now I feel, Taurus, that you are looking for a new perspective. Well, hi, how are you? I'm right here. Just joke, sort of. Okay, and then an area that you might need to put more time and your effort and energy into is failure. This is something you're not prioritizing. Have you failed at something? The 7 of Pentacles. Failure. I don't believe Tauruses can even fail at anything. I refuse to acknowledge it. But apparently so do you, because Spirit is saying this is an area that we're not prioritizing. Maybe plans for failure? Plans for the future? Plans if things don't work out, Taurus? We're going to talk here in a second. This is the 3rd position. This is an area where Spirit says you either subconsciously or consciously are letting yourself down. And it says valor. Valor to me is like bravery. And here we see this girl with her 7th wand, and she is holding her position. Anything comes towards her, she's going to handle it. She's brave. So maybe you were trying to get a different perspective on this failure. Our last video, well, I don't know if it was you, but we have talked a lot about how failure is an emotion. It's not a place that we live at, and you can't get off the bus stop at failure and just hang out in failure town. Like, that doesn't happen. If you are going through a failure, Maybe it really is your perspective. Maybe you're trying to get a different perspective, which is great, because failure is a word, just like rejection. They are usually given negative connotations, but they are not negative. They are literally just words, okay? Failure is what happens when you try to go somewhere or do something that's not meant for you. Good analogy. College. People change their college majors all the time. Like they're heading into botany. And they realize they need like 15 credits of science and math. And then people go, oh, I'm going to change my major. I'm really bad at math and science, so I'm always just like, oh, a med major? That's going to be so much fun. The same thing, so failure. Maybe your parents feel like because you dropped out of biology or turning into a doctor that you failed, but maybe you become like a really successful computer person. I don't know. Failure is a word that other people use to make you feel bad about not succeeding. But don't feel bad about not succeeding, because not succeeding means you are now going down a way that's probably closer to where you should be going. So maybe you do need that different perspective, because really it is about perspective, right? Maybe it's something that you wanted, or maybe it's something you thought you wanted, or you told yourself you wanted, and now you can't have it, and we have to just readjust our way of thinking. I really want to get a new car. I really need a new car. And for the first time in my life, I have more than enough money for a down payment, but I don't have a job, and so they won't give me a car. I mean, I could feel like a failure. Sometimes I do. I don't have a job, 32, live in my home with my sister and her children, because I don't have my own house either, because I lost my job because of Corona. Sometimes I feel like a failure. Not all the time or anything. Not every day. Because failure is not a place we live. It's just a feeling. I also feel hungry. Way more than I feel like a failure. I feel hungry often, and that's a feeling too. And we just deal with those feelings. We can deal with failure. So right now I feel like maybe you do have this sense that you didn't do what you hoped you could do in a situation, and you're mentally internalizing that as failure. But your hanged man is saying that you need a new position, you need a new way of looking at this, because you're brave. There's more brave than you, Taurus. And the universe says to acknowledge your most authentic self. You need to spend a little more time in this 10 of Cups energy. Look how close they are. Look how entwined they are. He's holding her up, and she's pouring into that cup. And it says, satiety. 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 Satiate. Satiate those desires, Taurus. Ooh. The 10 of Cups is like emotional fulfillment, right? So maybe right now you're in this I failed energy, and what the universe is saying is, no, get out of that energy. You know, take the hangman position. Here's an ankh. Go out and tie yourself up to the nearest tree and take a different position. Because what universe is saying to you is, instead of showcasing this like I feel bad, deal with it. Oh my God, deal with it. But instead of showcasing it, show other people how, yes, I went through a failure, but the failure does not define me. And actually right now I'm thinking more about like sexy time. So if we could put our focus on that, right? Because when we allow ourselves to feel the way that we feel, and then we can say, hey, I feel these feelings, but these are not who I am. I want to feel like this. Not only, one, are we helping ourselves move forward, giving ourselves that emotional space from a problem or a situation, but we're also allowing other people to look at us and say, wow, they had a setback. Wow, something didn't work out the way they wanted it to. Wow, they lost something, and they are still moving forward. Congratulations, now you're a mentor, you're a tutor, you're a healer for life, Taurus. You've just shown somebody an amazing gift, or like a capability, capacity, amazing capacity that we humans have to experience something, feel how that feels, and then just leave it behind. That's amazing. That's amazing. So really get into this 10 of Cups energy. Lucky. Something that the universe wants you to let go of is this portal. Yeah. So I feel like this is reminiscent of your failure, right? There was something you were trying, it didn't work, and so it's not going to move forward. But that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. It's okay. Like, watch. My voice won't even go up. Like, watch. It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to take every door that's open for you. You don't. Just because a door opens doesn't mean you want to go through that door. Maybe you lost your job, but then Brahms called, and Brahms was like, hey, we have openings. And you're like, thank you. I appreciate that. And then you thank the universe. Thank you for this opportunity. But this door, not for me. So the universe is saying there was a portal for you to walk through, but you didn't. Or there wasn't a portal, where you wished there were one. What you have to let go of is this idea that this thing, this particular thing, whatever this is going to change. But something you should acknowledge is this Prince of Swords. So the Prince of Swords is just like our knight. I was thinking to joust. He comes in on this, his chariot is being pulled by the eagle, you see? And the eagle represents truth and freedom. These are messages of truth and freedom, movement, okay? So whatever you thought you wanted, I think that what's coming to you, something you have to acknowledge, is that that's not what you really wanted, or wasn't really meant for you, okay? I'm not really sure what the situation is. Could be anything. Taurus, you would know. But whatever you wanted that didn't come true, you didn't fail, take a different perspective on it, it wasn't for you, okay, thank you, universe. Something's not going to happen, but something else is going to come better. Something better is for you. Prudence. This is the message from Spirit. Spirit says, take some time. Really go inside. Think about what it is you want. And don't go crazy. Don't do something that you're going to be like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Prudence. Be careful. Prudence is a virtue. Okay. All right. So let's clarify, even though I feel pretty strongly that the message was there and valid. Changing your perspective, Taurus. Let's see. So you had the Hanged Man, me, the Pisces energy, trying to find a different way of looking at things. And I think that's really good because Spirit is saying there's unlimited possibilities. This thing that you thought that you wanted, I'm sorry it doesn't work out, because disappointment comes like all the time. That's just another one of those feelings that we have, and I'm really sorry if that's how you feel, disappointed. But what I want you to know, Taurus, is you don't have to be disappointed. Not only are you learning a very valuable lesson from this, but things will move forward. Letting go. Letting go, Taurus. You have your perception, right? Of this failure. The failure that we said needed to be prioritized. Okay, so it could be the priority. Sorry, that's the cat. There's nothing I can do about him. He's very annoying. The priority what you need to prioritize is not the feeling of defeat. It's dealing with the feeling of failure. Do you tell yourself in your brain, oh, you're such a failure? Can't be doing that, Taurus. You got to give yourself forgiveness. Yourself or the situation. I just did like this video on Aries for like 15 minutes where I talked about emotional space, okay? You know what emotional work is, right? When you have a relationship with somebody or a business or anything like that, it's just putting in that extra energy to make sure that your relationship is copacetic, right? When your partner comes home from work at the end of the day, maybe you don't have the emotional space or capacity to take in how their day was, but you always ask, oh, hey, baby, how was your day? That's emotional work. Emotional space is where we allow ourselves to look at the situation and look at what happened. Acknowledge the part that we played in that situation, why it didn't work out, maybe a failure, let's see, like a job, right? Oh, okay, so look here. This is the situation for me, anyway. I don't know about you. This situation. I went to college. I did my best. I got the degrees that I was supposed to get. I got the great job after graduation. Then COVID hit, and I lost my job. there are many times during the week, during the day, that I feel like I failed. I feel like, this isn't where I know I'm supposed to be. Except, well, I'm doing this and I'm trying to help you. So maybe this is where I'm supposed to be. But you lose your job, right? The emotional space that you give yourself is to look at the situation like it actually is. You're not a loser. You didn't do anything wrong. That's not truth. Truth is that Corona came and no one had a chance to look at it or think, people did have a chance to look at it and our government seriously let us down. But the point is that people didn't have a chance to get to look at it and really understand it before we started making all these crazy decisions. And because of those crazy decisions, you lost your job. That's the emotional truth. That's emotional reality and looking at it. But by allowing myself to see the truth, I can let go of my connection or my belief that somehow it was all my fault. I tend to internalize things. It's always my fault. I don't know if you do that too, but fun, right? So if I can say, I lost the job because of these things, I can give myself some emotional space. Well, how I usually do it is by thinking about how things could have been different, okay? So if Corona hadn't happened, would I have lost my job? Probably not, because I was doing a really good job. I'm amazing. So by looking at the situation in reality and then seeing how things could be different or what I could have done differently, I can give myself that space. So if Corona hadn't come, I wouldn't have lost my job, which means that I'm not a failure because, again, it wasn't my fault. Does that make sense? So whatever you're feeling this sense of failure about, look at it objectively. How much of it was your fault? If parts of it were your fault, would you do the same things again in the future? If not, you can give yourself that emotional space. You can say, okay, well, maybe for this job, I lost it because I kept showing up late because I had things going on at home. Well, I've already solved the problems that things are going on at home, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. And now in the future, that won't happen again. Give yourself that emotional space to let things go. That's a Pisces perspective. That is straight up from the Hangman. Okay? Failure said, you have to give forgiveness, and that could be for you, it could be for somebody else, or it could be for the situation. But forgiveness comes with that emotional space, and then not having to be stuck feeling that way anymore. Okay? Psychic developments. Okay. I'm not saying that you will become psychic after this, but I am saying that this emotional space tip that I'm giving you, that's basically a psychic development. That's really just about rewiring your brain. In fact, all about self-love is rewiring your brain. We collect these habits as we grow up that tell us that it's okay to give parts of ourselves away and not expect anything back. But self-love is all about how we can give to ourselves. It's retraining our brain. It's like a psychic development. Not really, but like it, Taurus. And this change in perspective. I also think, honest to goodness, being able to change the way that you look at things is a superpower. I fully believe that. One, because I do it. And two, because I see all the time that people can't do it. People can't look at a situation differently. Perspective. That is a psychic power. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. As a teacher, as someone who has taught perspective to people and then watched their face go, what do you mean you don't see and experience everything the same way? Well, Johnny, God made us separate. With separate brains and separate feelings. Isn't that weird? 2 eyes. 2 hearts. I meant to say one. 1 heart. To feel things differently. Okay? We're all different. So let's see. Right now, something that Spirit wants you to acknowledge that you might be putting on the back burner is your valor, okay? Your bravery to deal with this failure. I know it's there because you're Taurus. Who has all the power, Taurus? You do. We're so strong. Who can take care of anything? This valor, it's you. So Spirit is saying, change your perspective on this failure. Pick up that braveness and let's go. Things are ready. Honoring your own energy, Taurus. Honoring your energy. I'm not going to sit here and say that you're perfect. I am not perfect, which most people will get from any of these videos. What I am saying, though, Taurus, is if you played a part in this, acknowledge that part and change that. Honor your own energy, okay? If there was something that you did wrong, don't do it again in the future. Apologize. Forgive yourself if you can't apologize to somebody else, and just tell yourself, I'm not going to do it again next time. I'm not. And then don't, because that's self-love. Self-discipline, boundaries, all of that. It's wild. Yep, because it's going to bring you this abundance, Taurus. Really will. And these are pentacles. This is like material abundance. This is like real world stability. So Spirit does want you to acknowledge this failure. Move away from it with your perception, because I think your perception is like skewed by maybe your belief about what failure is or how responsible you are in those situations. So change your perspective, because Spirit says acknowledge the failure, be brave, let it go, and focus on all of that satiety, right? You have this 10 of Cups. Something good is in your life. Yeah, no problem. No, for real. Uh-oh. But getting out of your head might be a struggle, Taurus. Universe is really suggesting that's what you do. Abundance and love just coming out of your head. Ancient wisdom. Accepting things the way that they are. Nothing is more ancient than trees. Trees will live hundreds of years in the same place. And they always are exactly who they are, because they can't be anything else. Right? If for whatever reason, whatever it is that you failed at, can you do better in that situation? Or is this just who you are? If the test was to walk on water, Taurus, and you failed, can you change that? Can you change that? Or is this just who you are? Okay? Don't keep putting your energy back into the same situation if it's not for you, if it's not for who you are. I couldn't walk on water. Probably float because my butt's really big, but I can't walk on water. That's just who I am. Oh, wow. Okay, so universe says what you have to let go of was this portal, right? That this thing will work out, because this thing isn't working out, because changes, okay? Changes are coming. Something better is coming for you. That's what the universe does. When you acknowledge, what's at home, Taurus? When you acknowledge what's not for you and you leave it behind, this change in perspective, you can move towards things that are for you, more for you. So changes are coming about where you're headed. And maybe you're headed home. Or maybe you're headed to a place that feels like home. Or if you forgive yourself for this failure or whatever it is, and you change this perspective, maybe you will feel more like home to yourself. That's what we're hoping for. That's what this whole thing is about. Feeling better. Feeling happier. Okay. And then we said that something you need to acknowledge is this Prince of Swords, right? We said that the eagle is pulling this truth and freedom. And the swords is messages of clarity or understanding or wisdom. And then we said, well, just now, to clarify that, we got integration. So I think you're integrating the sense of like duality, the good with the bad. I don't have to be perfect to be happy. No, Taurus, no one has to be perfect. Nobody. Okay, definitely. Ascension. That's what I'm getting from all of this, is just like this change coming in. And it's going to be prudence. I don't necessarily think this is like a material prudence. I think this is really prudence about like you taking time before you judge yourself so harshly and, you know, not doing that as much. I think you should be prudent in the way that you think about you failing or you not succeeding. Change your perspective on that word, succeed. Don't be so fast to call yourself a loser. That's awful. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. You're not a loser. You don't deserve to be called a loser by anybody. Don't call yourself that. I'm really big into like positive self-talk. I have friends who are really mean to themselves, like really mean to themselves. And I'm not saying that if you're really mean to yourself that you can't, I don't want to sound judgmental because these are my friends, but I worry sometimes if they're so mean to themselves, like what kind of benefits, not what kind of benefits, but like, are they going to be able to give me the benefit of the doubt? I do worry about that. I think that in a relationship, in a friendship, in any kind of situation where I'm choosing to have you in my life, my first assumption about your actions should not be negative, or like you're doing something to hurt me. That would be my first assumption. I would just be like, oh, my friend didn't call me back. They must have gotten busy. Not, oh, my friend didn't call me back. They must not like me. But if you're the kind of person who sits there and like puts yourself down constantly, you're probably also thinking those things about other people. So you say, oh, I'm such a failure. Oh, I'm such a loser. Blah, 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 blah. And then when I don't answer, when you call me and I don't answer, you think, she didn't answer because I'm so stupid. Well, that's you making an assumption about me, and I don't really appreciate that. When it should just be like, oh, my friend is probably busy, but you have like this negative self-concept. And I don't, that's like a whole thing we can get into if you want to, self-concepts. All also recommend therapy for that. I've been through therapy. I mean, I'm still weird, but I do think it helps. Where were we? Oh yes, prudence. Prudence. Don't be so mean to yourself. Don't be so harsh on yourself. Give yourself the benefit of the doubt. Give yourself a pause, right? New beginnings. See, if you just give yourself a pause, if you give yourself some time. The caterpillar doesn't just wake up one morning as the butterfly. He has to go into that chrysalis. That transformation has to happen, right? So you need to give yourself a minute. Give yourself a pause, that prudence. This burden. It is going to be a burden. Well, it would be a burden for you if you decide not to change, but it's going to be a burden on everybody else around you if you just decide to stay in this energy. So I don't feel like the transition is a burden, although healing is never fun. Sorry. But this sense of like feeling badly about yourself, it could be a burden to you and to the people around you. So I feel like some prudence. Give yourself the benefit of doubt. Give yourself that pause. Find something to satiate this energy that you have. You obviously need some kind of outlet that's not just putting yourself down, okay? So to recap, just really quickly, Taurus, you are in my energy. Came to my house. Welcome to my house. You're in this Pisces energy because I feel like you're trying to find a new perspective. And here I am trying to give you one. Emotional space from whatever the situation was. You're brave and you can handle it. You can. I don't know what your situation is. I do know that you can handle it. It's not about being a failure. It's about your thoughts on failing. Give yourself the benefit of the doubt. Find something healthy to put your energy into because Spirit is saying you need to satiate some of this pent-up frustration that you have. Truth and clarity is going to come, but it's from you. And you need to give yourself a minute. Give yourself a pause. If you screw something up, just, I'm not a loser. I'm not an idiot. I'm not a failure. It was just a mistake. I can fix this. Or, this is not working out for me. I'm not a loser. I'm not a failure. I just don't want to do this anymore. It's 100% okay to walk away from things that you don't like. Don't feel bad about it. Just don't. That's my advice. Okay? I really hope this helps, Taurus, and hope you have a good day.